welcome back to GCSE Maths Attack. In today's lesson, we shall be going through mathematically similar shapes. So what do I mean by similar shapes? Right, so I'm told in this question A, B, C, D, so which is this shape over here, A, B, C, D, I'm going to call that shape number 1, is mathematically similar to the following shape over here, which is P, Q, R, S. So if I look at this, P, Q, R, S, so I'm told these two shapes are considered mathematically similar. Now, what do I mean by mathematically similar? Well, what I mean by mathematically similar is that when I enlarge the shape, the angles do not change. However, the side lengths, the corresponding side lengths do change. They either increase or decrease depending on your scale factor. Now, how do I work out the scale factor? Now, in order for me to work out the scale factor, I need to find out the two corresponding sides. Now, if I look at BC, I can see that it's 10 centimeter. And if I look at shape 2, I need to find something that is corresponding to the side length BC. I can see QR is similar to BC. So I'm going to compare both of these lengths. Now, how do I work out the scale factor? Well, all I have to do is 15 divided by 10, and that gives me 1.5. Well, what does this 1.5 mean? It basically means I need to times my 10 centimeter by 1.5 in order to give me 15. So that basically means to go from shape 1, so shape 1, to shape 2, I need to multiply by 1.5. And if I want to go from shape 2 to shape 1, I need to divide by 1.5. Okay, so this fact over here is going to be very important in the next few minutes. Okay, so the question is asking me to find the length of PQ and AD. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out which ones are corresponding. So let's look at PQ. Where's PQ? Oh, PQ is over here. What's corresponding to PQ in shape number 1? I can see AB is corresponding to PQ. So all I'm going to do is, if I'm going to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I'm going to multiply by 1.5. So I'm going to do 6 times 1.5. And if I do 6 times 1.5, that gives me 9 centimeters. So I know that PQ is 9 centimeters. Okay. Now, what do I do next? I'm asked to work out AD. So let me just write PQ. So PQ is equal to 9 centimeters. And how do I work out AD? Well, where is AD? Oh, AD is over here. What's corresponding to AD in shape number 2? Well, I can see PS is corresponding to that side AD. Right, this time I'm going backwards. I'm going from shape 2 to shape 1. Which one am I going to look at? Well, I'm going to look at this one over here. Now, I'm told if I want to go backwards, I need to divide my answer by 1.5. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 1.5. And if I do 12 divided by 1.5, that's 8 centimeters. So now I know that AD is equal to 8 centimeters. Okay, guys, so in this question, we're told that ABC and PQR are mathematically similar. So that basically means shape 1, so I'm going to call this shape 1, and I'm going to call this shape 2. So shape 1 has been increased by a certain scale factor in order to give us shape number 2. And we need to work out that scale factor. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is work out the scale factor. In order for us to work out the scale factor, we need to find the two corresponding lengths that are given. Now we can see AB is given and PQ is also given, and those two lengths are corresponding. Right, so what did I multiply 8 centimeters to give us 12? So we're going to work backwards. So we're going to do 12 divided by 8. Now if I do 12 divided by 8, that's 1.5. So I know that I need to multiply 8 by 1.5 in order for it to give us 12 centimeters. And you can check that in your calculator. You can do 8 times 1.5 and that will give you 12 centimeter. So you know to go from shape 1 to shape 2, you need to multiply by 1.5. Now, what happens if you want to go from shape 2 to shape 1? So if you want to go backwards, well, if you want to go backwards, you just divide. So shape 2 to shape 1, you divide by 1.5. Okay, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that. So shape 1 to shape 2 times 1.5. And if I'm going to go backwards, I'm going to divide by 1.5. Okay, so I'm asked to work out the length PR. Okay, so if I'm asked to work out the length PR, I need to say to myself, where's PR? So here is PR over here, and it is corresponding to this side over here. Okay, so both of these sides are corresponding. So I'm going from shape 1 to shape 2. So what did I say from shape 1 to shape 2? If I want to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I must multiply by 1.5. So what I'm going to do is 26 times 1.5. And if I place that in my calculator, I will get 39 centimeters. So I know that PR is 39 centimeters. Okay, now, if I want to work out BC, which is going backwards, where is BC? BC is over here. I need to find the corresponding side in shape 2. I can see that RQ is corresponding to BC. Now I'm going backwards, okay? I'm going from shape 2 to shape 1. So I'm doing 45 divided by 1.5. And if I do 45 divided by 1.5, that gives me 30 centimeters. So I know that this is going to be 30 centimeters, and it makes sense because the shape is getting smaller, so you're going to divide it by 1.5. So that will be divided by 1.5. Okay, right, so you're told A, B, C, D, which is this shape over here, I'll call it shape 1, and L, P, N, M, so this is shape 2, are mathematically similar. Again, when we're saying mathematically similar, we're saying one shape has been enlarged by a certain scale factor in order to give us shape 2. We need to work out that scale factor. The question says calculate the length of LP. So where's LP? So let's identify where that is. That's over here. And I can see what's corresponding to LP is AD. And we're told to work out BC. So where is BC? So BC is over here, and it's corresponding to this side over here. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video and have a go at this question. Right, so I'm assuming that you paused the video and you've had a go at this question. So let's begin. Now, the first thing we need to do is look at the corresponding sides which are given. Now, we are given D to C and we are given P to N, and those two are corresponding sides. They look similar in both of the shapes, shape 1 and shape 2. So in order for me to work out the number that I multiply 6 by in order to give me 9, I need to divide 9 by 6. Now if I do 9 divided by 6, that gives me 1.5. So that basically means if I do 6 times 1.5, that gives me 9 centimeters. So I know that to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I need to multiply by 1.5. And if I want to go from shape 2 to shape 1, I need to divide by 1.5. So I'm just going to quickly highlight that. So shape 1 to shape 2, multiplied by 1.5. And to go from shape 2 to shape 1, I'm going to divide by 1.5. Okay, so now we've got those two fun facts. Let's work these side lengths. So AD is similar to LP. I'm going from shape 1 to shape 2. Now, if I'm going from shape 1 to shape 2, then I need to multiply by 1.5. So I need to do 5 times 1.5, and that will give me this pink length. So 5 times 1.5, that's going to be 7.5 centimeters. So I know that this is 7.5 centimeters. Now, in order for me to work out BC, I know that I'm going backwards. Okay, so if I'm going from shape 2 to shape 1, I need to divide by 1.5. So I need to do 12 divided by 1.5. And if I do 12 divided by 1.5, that will give me 8 centimeters. So this length over here is 8 centimeters, which makes sense because the shape is getting smaller. Now, if you got those two questions correct, give yourself a tick. If not, please rewind and check where you went wrong. Okay, guys, so you're given two shapes over here. They said that they are mathematically similar. So similar shapes, calculate the length of BC. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, so I'm assuming that you paused the video and had a go at these two questions. So let me go through them with you. So ABC and PQR are similar. Calculate the length of BC. So let's identify where BC is. BC is over here. Can you see that? So here is BC. Now, the first thing I need to do is work out the corresponding sides which are given. So the lengths which are given, I can see that AB is given and so is PQ, and those two are corresponding sides. I'm going to call this shape 1 and I'm going to call this shape 2. Okay, now I'm asked to work out BC. First thing I need to do is work out the scale factor. So I need to work out where did I go from shape 1 to shape 2 to get this 6 centimeters. Now I can do 6 divided by 10. If I do 6 divided by 10, that gives me 0.6. So I know that if I do 10 times 0.6, that will give me 6 centimeters. So to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I need to times by 0.6. Okay, so I'm now going from shape 2 to shape 1. I'm going backwards. So if I'm going backwards, I'm going to divide by 0.6. So I'm going to do 12 centimeters divided by 0.6, and that will give me BC. So I'm going to do 12 divided by 0.6, and that gives me 20 centimeters. And this will give me 20 centimeters. Now you can see that shape 1 is an enlargement of shape 2, and you might be wondering, well, if it's an enlargement, shouldn't the shape be getting bigger? Like I said to you right at the beginning, enlargement does not necessarily mean the shape is getting bigger. Enlargement just means a shape is increasing or decreasing by a certain scale factor. Okay, so you're given two shapes, so you're told triangles ABC is similar to ADE. Work out the length of DE. Now, you might be wondering, how do we tackle this question? Well, the first thing we need to do is see where the triangles are at. So we've got ABC, so that's over here. So can you see ABC? So that's that triangle. And we have another large triangle, AD. So there's D and E. So we've got another one over here. So we have two triangles over here. Now I'm just going to draw a quick sketch of both of those triangles. Okay, so my drawing won't be the best, but I will try to get them as accurate as possible. So I'm going to call this A, I'm going to call this B, and I'm going to call this C. And I'm just going to quickly fill this in. This is 12.5 and this is 15 centimeters. Then I'm going to draw a large triangle. So, okay, so we've got another one. You've got D, A, and E. Okay, so what do I know? I know this length over here. Okay, so A to E. So 15 plus 6 will give me 21 centimeters. So I know this is 21 centimeters. I'm asked to work out the length of DE. So let's identify where DE is. DE is over here. Now, obviously, my drawing is not accurate as possible, but we're just going to have to make do with what I've drawn. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is work out the corresponding sides. So I can see that AC is corresponding to AE over here. I can use those two lengths to work out the scale factor. So I'm going to do 21 divided by 15. Now, if I do 21 divided by 15, that gives me 1.4. I'm going to call this shape 1 and I'm going to call this shape 2. Right, in order for me to go from shape 1, so shape 1, so let me write that down, shape 1 to shape 2, I need to multiply by 1.4. Okay, so I need to work out DE. That is going from shape 1 to shape 2. I can see BC is corresponding to DE in shape 2. So I need to do 12.5 times 1.4. And if I do 12.5 times 1.4, I'll get 17.5 centimeters. Okay, so remember these are centimeters, and that is going to be 17.5 centimeters, which makes sense because the shape is getting bigger. So guys, the two triangles are mathematically similar. Find x and find y. So you got two triangles which are combined. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw them. So here's a small triangle over here, and here is the larger triangle. So let me just quickly draw a rough sketch. This is not obviously accurately drawn, but this is the best I could get. So this is 5, this is 4, this is 3.75, and I can see that this is 7, and I can see that this is x, and this is y. The first thing I need to do is work out the two sides which are corresponding. I can see this side and this side are corresponding over here. So the first thing I need to do is 7 divided by 5. If I do 7 divided by 5, I'll get 1.4. Now I'm going to call this shape A, and I'm going to call this shape B. Now, in order for me to go from shape A to shape B, I need to times by 1.4. And if I want to go backwards, B to A, I'm going to divide by 1.4. Okay, so those are my scale factors. So I'm just going to quickly highlight that because I will be looking at this again. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is work out the corresponding sides. So if I want to work out side X, I'm going from shape A to shape B. Now, what's corresponding to X? I can see that this length over here, 3.75, is corresponding to this X over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3.75 times 1.4. And if I do 3.75 times 1.4, I'm going to get 5.25. So length X is 5.25. So X equals 5.25. Okay, so if I'm going to work out Y, I need to say to myself, okay, which two are corresponding? I could see the 4 is corresponding to Y. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 times 1.4. And if I put those together, I will get 5.6. Okay, so Y is equal to 5.6. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is draw the triangles out. Okay, so I'm going to draw a quick sketch of these triangles. So I could see that there is a small triangle over here. So this is the best drawing I could get so far. Obviously, it's not accurate as possible. I'm going to call this length over here A. I'm going to call this 3 centimeters. And I'm going to show the parallel sides. And then I'm going to draw my other triangle, which is over here. Okay, and I could see that this is B and this is C. This is 12 centimeters, and I could see that this is 10 centimeters. Now, the first thing I need to do is work out the corresponding sides. These two lengths are given, so this one's given, and this one also is given. So I'm going to say to myself, what do I times 3 by to give me 12? That's 4. So my scale factor to go from shape 1 to shape 2 is times 4. So I'm just going to quickly write that down. So shape 1 to shape 2. Shape 2. I need to times by 4. I'm just going to quickly highlight that. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight that because we will be using this. Okay, and if I'm going to go backwards, obviously I'm going to divide by 1.4. Okay, so the first thing is we need to work out BC. Where's BC? BC is over here. So what's corresponding to BC? Right, so what's corresponding to BC is AB. I forgot one length to add is the 2 centimeters. So I'm going to add 2 centimeters over here. So what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I'm going to do 2 times 4. Now 2 times 4 is 8 centimeters. I know that BC is 8 centimeters. Okay, now the next one is work out AC. Now what's AC? AC involves this whole length over here. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is work out this length, and then I need to add it onto the 10 centimeters. Okay, now how I'm going to do that? Well, I can see that this side over here, let's just get a different highlighter. I can see that this side over here is corresponding to this side over here, and I can see that I'm going from shape 2 to shape 1. So if I'm going 2 to 1, I'm going to divide by 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do 10 divided by 4, and that's going to give me 2.5. So I know that this length over here is 2.5. That means this is 2.5. So I'm asked to work out AC. So I'm going to do 2.5 plus 10. Now if I do that, that's going to give me 12.5 centimeters. So AC equals 12.5. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, so you probably had a go at this question over here. So let's begin. Now we can see that there's 2 triangles over here. Now obviously in this question it didn't state that it's mathematically similar. It should say it's mathematically similar, but let's assume it is. So I'm going to redraw both of those triangles. Now I can see that there's a smaller triangle over here. So if you can see this one over here. And I could see there is a bigger triangle over here, and they are combined. Okay, so I'm going to redraw both of those triangles. So I'm going to draw the larger triangle over here. So I can see the bottom, if I was going to add them up, it's going to be x plus 7. Now I could see that this is 8 centimeters, and that's that. And I'm going to draw the smaller triangle over here, and I could see that this is 7 centimeters and this is 5 centimeters. The first thing I'm going to do is work at the corresponding lengths that are given. So I'm being given 8 centimeters and I'm given 5 centimeters. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out the scale factor. I'm going to do 5 divided by 8. So if I do 5 divided by 8, I get 0.625. Now, to go from shape A to shape B, I need to multiply by 0.625. So if I do 8 times 0.625, it will give me 5 centimeters. Okay, so from shape A to shape B, I'm going to times by 0.625. Okay, so I'll work out the length of x. So I know that if I do 0.625 times by x plus 7, that should give me 7 centimeters. Now I need to solve this equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is expand the bracket. So I'm going to expand this bracket, and that's going to give me 0.625x plus 4.375 equals 7. I'm going to subtract 4.375. Okay, now if I subtract that, 0.625x equals 2.625. I'm going to divide both sides by 0.625, and then x equals 4.2. Okay, so this equals 4.2. Okay, so BD is parallel to CE. Calculate the length of CE. Pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, guys, so we can see that there is 2 different triangles over here. We can see that BD is parallel to CE. And the first thing I'm going to do is draw out the 2 triangles. So I'm going to draw the smaller triangle over here. I'm going to label it A. I'm going to label this B. And I'm going to label this D. This is 9 centimeters. This is 10 centimeters, and this is 17 centimeters. Then I'm going to draw the bigger triangle over here. That's A, that's C, and that's E. Okay, now I can see A to C is going to be 9 plus 13.5, and if I add that together, that's going to give me 22.5. So this length over here will be 22.5. I'm going to write that down here. So at 22.5, and then I'm going to see AE. So AE, we're not given the whole length, but I'm given 10 centimeters over here, and I don't have CE. Now the first thing I'm going to do is work out the corresponding sides and identify them. So I can identify AB is corresponding to BC. I'm going to call one of the shapes 1, and I'm going to call the other shape 2. Now in order for me to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I'm going to do 22.5 divided by 9, and if I divide that, I get 2.5. So I know to go from shape 1 to shape 2, I need to times by 2.5. Now I've been asked to work out CE. Now that means I'm going to go from shape 1 to shape 2. First thing I'm going to do is work out the corresponding sides. I know that BD is equal to CE. So the first thing I'm going to do is 17 centimeters times 2.5. And if I times that together, that's going to give me 42.5 centimeters. Okay guys, so two triangles are similar. There are two possible values of x. Work out each of these values, state any assumptions. So we're told that there is two triangles over here and they are mathematically similar. So we can see that there are two triangles. There's one mini one over here. So A, B, and E. And we can see that there is a larger triangle over here, which is A, C, D. Okay, so there's two triangles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw them out. So I'm going to draw the smaller triangle over here. So here it is. A, B, E. So A to B is 8 centimeters. A to E is 12 centimeters. And this one is not given. And then I'm going to draw another larger triangle over here. Okay, so I can see that you've got A, D, and C. Okay, and I can see that this is 8 centimeters. This is X centimeters. So if I add them together, that will be 8 plus X centimeters. I'm just going to rewrite that. So I'm going to write down 8 plus X. Okay, and then over here, AD is not given, but A to D has been given. So C to D has not been given, but A to D is 12 plus 13, which is 15 centimeters. Okay, the first thing we need to do is work out the corresponding sides. So I can see A to E and A to D are your corresponding sides. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out the scale factor. So I'm going to do 15 divided by 12, which gives me 1.25. Okay, so if I'm going from shape 1 to shape 2, I need to multiply by 1.25. So shape 1 to shape 2, I'm going to multiply by 1.25. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this over here. Okay, so I know that I'm going to times by 1.25. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is if I'm going from shape 1 to 2 and I need to work out X, I need to work out the corresponding sides. So which two sides are corresponding? I know that AC is corresponding to AB. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to do 8 times 1.25. And if I do that on my calculator, I would get 10 centimeters. So I know that AC will equal 10 centimeters. So 8 plus X will equal 10 centimeters. Therefore, X equals 2. So that is one assumption. We know that one assumption is X can equal to 2. So the other assumption. What is the other assumption? Well, the other assumption is we can assume that AB can be corresponding to AD. So the corresponding sides could actually be, so the corresponding sides could actually be AB is corresponding to AD. Can you see that over here? So if those two are corresponding, then we can do 15 divided by 8. And if we do 15 divided by 8, we should get 1.875. So to go from shape 1 to shape 2, we times by 1.875. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly highlight that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 8 times 1.875, and if I times those two together, I should get 10.2. Okay, okay, so if those two are corresponding sides, if AB is corresponding to AD, then we can assume that AE is corresponding to AC. So that means 12 times 1.875 would give me 22.5. Okay, so that means AC should be 22.5. So 8 plus x will equal 22.5. Now if I take the 8 to the other side, x is 22.5. Take away 8, which is equal to 13.5. So we can assume x is equal to 13.5. So x can also equal to 13.5. Thank you for getting this far to my video. Please like, comment and subscribe. My next video will be on working out similar shapes in 2D and 3D.